Hey, so today we're going to be reading the art lesson, and this story was written by Tommy DePola. So I want you to write on your post-it note, if you have one, something about the cover of the book. So I noticed that the boy looks like he's happy because he likes to draw. So let's keep reading. It says, Tommy knew he wanted to be an artist when he grew up. He drew pictures everywhere he went. It was his favorite thing to do. So I can make a connection to this story because my sister always wanted to be a teacher when she grew up. And so now she is a teacher, just like Tommy. When he is younger, he wants to be an artist. So maybe one day he'll get to be an artist. His friends had favorite things to do too. Jack collected all kinds of turtles. Herbie made huge cities in his sandbox. Jenny, Tommy's best friend, could do cartwheels and stand on her head. So I noticed that one of his friends likes to collect things. So I know that I like to collect clothes. That's my thing. So I would write on my sticky note, it says, I like to collect clothes. And I would put it right here in my book. But Tommy drew and drew. So now we're going to pause for a minute, and I want you to draw or write what this page makes you think of. His twin cousins, who were already grown up, were in art school learning to be real artists. They told him not to copy and to practice, so he did. Tommy put his pictures up on the walls of his half of the bedroom. See, it says Tommy's side. His mom put them up all around the house. His dad took them to the barber shop where he worked. Seems like his parents were proud of him. Tom and Nana, Tommy's Irish grandfather and grandmother, had his pictures in their grocery store. Nana Fall River, his Italian grandmother, put one in a special frame on the table next to the photograph of Aunt Chloe in her wedding dress. So what does this make you think of? We're going to pause right here, and if you have a sticky note, you can write what it makes you think of. Once Tommy took a flashlight and a pencil under the covers and drew pictures on his sheets. But when his mom changed the sheets on Monday and found them, she said, "No more drawing on the sheets, Tommy." Now that makes me think, I wrote on my sticky note of a time when I was little and I drew on the walls in my house, and that did not end up very well. My mom was not as patient as Tommy's mom was. His mom and dad were having a new house built, so Tommy drew pictures of what it would look like when it was finished. When the walls were up, one of the carpenters gave Tommy a piece of bright blue chalk. Tommy took the chalk and drew beautiful pictures all over the unfinished walls. But when the painters came, his dad said, "That's it, Tommy, no more drawing on the walls." Just like what I did. Tommy couldn't wait to go to kindergarten. His brother Joe told him there was a real art teacher who came to the school to give art lessons. "When do we have our art lessons?" Tommy asked the kindergarten teacher. "Oh, you won't have your art lessons until next year," said Miss Bird, "but we are going to paint pictures tomorrow." It wasn't much fun. The paint was awful, and the paper got all wrinkly. Miss Bird made the paint by pouring different colored powders into different jars and mixing them with water. The paint didn't stick to the paper very well, and it cracked. If it was windy, when Tommy carried his picture home, the paint blew right off the paper. "At least you get more than one piece of paper in kindergarten," his brother Joe said. "When the art teacher comes, you only get one piece." So I want you to draw a picture now. Pause the story, and I want you to draw a picture of how you think he was feeling in that moment. You see, I drew a brownie face because I don't think he was that happy. Tommy knew that the art teacher came to school every other Wednesday. He could tell she was an artist because she wore a blue smock over her dress, and she always carried a big box of thick colored chalks. Once Tommy and Jenny looked at the drawings that were hung up in the hallway. They were done by the first graders. Your pictures are much better, Jenny told Tommy. Next year, when we have real art lessons, you'll be the best one. Tommy could hardly wait. He practiced all summer. Then, on his birthday, which was right after school began, his mom and dad gave him a box of 64 Crayola crayons. Regular boxes of crayons had red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, brown, and black. This box had so many other colors: blue violet, turquoise, red orange, pink, and even gold, silver, and copper. Class, said Miss Landers, the first grade teacher, next month the art teacher will come to our room, so on Monday, instead of singing, we will practice using our crayons. On Monday, Tommy brought his 64 crayons to school. Miss Landers was not pleased. Everyone must use the same crayons, she said. School crayons. School crayons had only the same old 8 colors. As Miss Landers passed them out to the class, she said, "These crayons are school property, so do not break them, peel off the paper, or wear down the points." "How am I supposed to practice being an artist with school crayons?" Tommy asked Jack and Herbie. "That's enough, Tommy," Miss Landers said. "And I wanted you to take those birthday crayons home with you and leave them there." And Joe was right. They only got one piece of paper. Finally, the day of the art lesson came. Tommy could hardly sleep that night. He was so excited, I bet. The next morning, he hid the box of 64 crayons under his sweater and went off to school. He was ready. The classroom door opened, and in walked the art teacher. Miss Landers said, "Class, this is Miss Bowers, the art teacher. Patty, who is our paper monitor this week, will give out one piece of paper to each of you. And remember, don't ruin it because it is the only piece you'll get. Now pay attention to Miss Bowers." "Class," Miss Bowers began, "because Thanksgiving is not too far away, we will learn to draw a pilgrim man, a pilgrim woman, and a turkey. Watch carefully and copy me." Copy? Tommy knew that real artists didn't copy. This was terrible. This was supposed to be a real art lesson. He folded his arms and just sat there. Okay, so I want us to pause and think about what the problem is in the story now. I think that this is probably going to be the big idea of our story, and we're going to see how they solve the problem. "Now, what's the matter?" Miss Lander asked. Tommy looked past her and spoke right to Miss Bowers. "I'm going to be an artist when I grow up, and my cousins told me that real artists don't copy. And besides, Miss Landers won't let me use my own 64 Crayola crayons." "Well, well," Miss Bowers said, "what are we going to do?" She turned to Miss Landers, and they whispered together. Miss Landers nodded. "Now, Tommy," Miss Bowers said, "it wouldn't be fair to let you do something different from the rest of the class. But I have an idea. If you draw the pilgrim man and woman and the turkey, and if there's any time left, I'll give you another piece of paper, and you can do your own picture with your own crayons. Can you do that?" "I'll try," Tommy said with a big smile. So I want us to talk about the word compromise. So that is what Tommy and the art teacher just did. Compromise is when you give up something so you can do something else. So, for example, the compromise was that he would do what everybody else in the class was doing, and then if he wanted to do extra, he could do his own drawing after he was done. So he was giving up his time so he could do what everybody else was doing, so he could gain something he wanted, which is to draw his own picture. And he did. So it shows his pilgrims, and then it shows the picture that he drew himself, which looks like it's of the art teacher. And he still does. So when he gets older, he does end up being an artist, just like we talked about in the beginning. I said that